Before this video can begin, I have to film an introduction so I can then move on with the rest of the video and know that I did an introduction even though I didn't feel like making an introduction, but it's really important for everyone who I'm crouching right now, by the way, because I don't want the frame like I'm happy with where the frame is for the camera, but I want to be lower, but I want to be closer to the camera because typically in this video you'll see me standing further away, which is why I got like right up to the edge and I'm crouching down right now. I don't have to, but that's what I'm choosing to do. It's the type of person that I am. So, um, I'm going to babble for a while, and then I'm going to tell you more about what this channel is, what this video is, what we're doing here, etc. So if you're curious about this channel, probably the first video, gosh, I'm having a hard time being in position here. This is not going to be an excellent video for you for like, oh, what's this channel? What's going on here? I'm not going to answer any of that. We're just diving right in. So you'll have to find your answers somewhere else. I'm so sorry, but that had to be said. Now please enjoy the video and this guy who I'll introduce shortly. I'm conflicted because I want the Chow in the frame, but right above the camera is a different Chow. And I want to be able to look at the Chow so I can tell myself when I'm nervous about making this video and talking, then I can like look at the Chow and pretend I'm talking to a human people, which is easier than looking at the camera and be like, oh wow, what is this? I'm talking to myself in front of a camera and like trying to produce something while at the same time attempting to be vulnerable. I'm having a hard time with this. So I want to look at the Chow and I want the camera to make it look like I'm looking at the camera when really I'm looking at the Chow. But I want this Chow also in the frame, and I think that's the more important thing. Because if at any given point in this video, when you're thinking to yourself, Phineas Former is not being cute right now, need I say more? I think we're going to keep this as it is. I also want this to be a minimal to no edit situation. So there's going to be pauses and such, and that's okay. And sometimes I like being closer to the camera than I am right now, but first of all, this way you get such visage of me, and I like that, and hopefully you enjoy that as well. But this is the only way to get the Chow in the frame, and that was of paramount importance for today's video. So I'm going to put down my controllers. They're right behind me here. And it's time for us to get to work after my hands show up. Hands. Hands. There we go, my hands are here. Okay, so hello, greetings, and welcome to this, the first video of a new channel. This is Phineas Former Vlogs. I have to turn on the sound a little bit. It's important that you don't hear the sound, because I am literally inside of the Chow Garden of Sonic 2, like Sonic Adventure 2 fame, and I like this music, but I think the YouTube might be like, why are you playing this music on background? And everyone else might be like, why is the music on background? But the music is for me, so if you want to join me in my experience for the fullness of the experience, you could put on the Chow Garden music on repeat, like I have in my ears. You'll feel better for it, I assure you. That's right. I am a little bit torn right now because I mean, it's still like the camera thing, but we push past this. Because I really want a good natural flow of what I need to say as though we were being friendly and having like kind of a conversation. And I was experiencing a gentle miasma is not quite the right word to use. I just really wanted to use that word, so I did. Because if this was a conversation, I wouldn't be bullying my way into what to say, what we're going to talk about. A conversation is much more two-directional than that. It puts me in a strange position of having a conversation with myself that I'm trying to genuinely craft to be able to express what I want to express, but the things I want to bring up are hard to bring up in a conversational context, in part perhaps because I've spent such an egregious amount of time in my life specifically learning how to navigate a conversation away from the places I would now like to navigate a conversation towards. And I think what I'm saying there really is I need to tell you about the world that we're in, why we're in this world, and not just because chows are adorable. So this is just going to be like, hey, hang on. All right, and now I don't quite remember where we left off, and I'm going to be annoyed with myself as I take this all into the editing bay because I just barely filmed the introduction. So now we've like established fully. I'm not going to explain anything in this video. We're just diving right into what Phineas Former Vlogs is. And Phineas Former Vlogs right now is I'm going to tell you why we're in the Chow Garden. Would I watch this? Is this my second monitor content? Let's find out. And then I completely forgot what I was actually just barely saying because I recorded that introduction and then I stopped to check what I had recorded so far to make sure, do I like this framing? How's the audio? And part of that I think is I'm just a little bit nervous, so I wanted an excuse to stop filming this and go do something else with my life. But actually, good news. I feel so strong right now. I feel so confident. I was watching that just now, and I'm like, I normally don't be this far away from the camera, and you see like more of me, which is a good thing as it turns out. Wow, I am extra wiggly. Uh, that's not normally my style. It's not normally where how I am, and I thought it would be terrible, but actually, I just kind of love it. It's super good. And I was watching myself. I was like, is this my second monitor content? I was looking at it. Guys, this is it. This is the second monitor content. I'm so excited. So, I know I've been all over the place so far. We're going to start here, because I love the introduction that I filmed, and I love all the rambling that brought us to this point. And then I probably even love how choppy it's been, because it's fun seeing someone just be a little nervous wreck sometimes, and I'm a little nervous wreck sometimes. What do you want from me? I'm a nervous little lad. But we'll go ahead and get on with the story and go from there. What brings me here specifically, aside from a long, long time of thinking about it, theorizing it, wanting to do it, and then either like the time's not right, or there's so many factors that can go into why I haven't made this video yet, or started this channel yet, because there's a lot of things afoot, and they are happening right now. A lot is happening right now. As for what did bring me here right now, is I had plans to program. I was doing more programming earlier today, and I might make an update on my Ko-Fi page about what that status is like and what my plans are for the weekend. But I was doing things today that were going quite nicely, and then like I was out and about in the world while I was doing that. And then when I got back, I had more plans to start implementing. There's some programming I enjoy doing on the go, and then some things I need more integration, and so I had to finish some up at home on my desktop computer, not just on my phone. And then I ended up laying down in bed and feeling the weight of everything, basically. And I'm like, maybe a little bit tired, but I think it was more just like typically an ADHD thing, but anyone is subject to you lay down and just feel the weight of the world for a little bit. For me, it was for a while. And a trick that I've enjoyed the past year or two is a friend turned me on to this idea about, do I really identify as this when I'm in the middle of a lot of pain or there's something arduous that's going on and I'm really distressed about something? When you sit and ask yourself, like, is this really who I am? When I picture myself, when I talk with my peers, is this who I am? Sad, scared, frightened little boy, nervous, not sure what to do, how to do it. Is this how I identify? Usually that does a pretty good job about pulling me out of where I'm at. I employed that rule and I said to myself, like, well, no, not typically. So what's the place that I'm at now personally, and all of the ambitions that I do have, and the person that I have been versus like the space mentally that I inhibit, that I'm in at that moment, like what's going on? Something's not working here. What would make this moment better? What is it that I think I'm lacking? If right now I'm lacking a lot of initiative, what circumstance would it have to be for me to have initiative? What answered that pretty immediately was having someone to talk about my cool ideas with. because I have a lot of cool ideas. This video is a cool idea. And I'll talk more about the mechanics of this video another time. For now, we're just going to enjoy this video, baby, you and me. This video is a cool idea. You have it, rest assured. Just trust me on this one. It's a cool idea. But I don't have anyone to share my cool idea with. And I want to be able to theory craft and to have over another quasi-pseudo wannabe intellectual to talk about my dumb ideas that have tremendous societal merit because I'm quasi-pseudo intellectual, and that's the sort of stuff that I think about and the stuff that I think is really cool. And no one thinks that my idea is super cool. I haven't really told anyone about my idea. I don't really have, like, and some people think I'm onto something when I talk more in depth about what I have in mind. But there's not a lot of people, there's no one actually, who is like, yes. Yes. And it's like, I just want someone who's like, yes. And that happened roughly an hour ago. I was laying in bed feeling the weight of all things, and it's like, I just want, it'd be fun to be able to have yes. And that brings me back to some of my mission statement for Phineas Former, for everything that I've been doing for a really long time now. I tried doing that thing where I pause and then I edit later, but it's like, nope, this is it. We're going for it because I can't just pause in real life, and I want to treat you guys like real life, which is part of what Phineas Former is about, and that's what this channel is about. I want to. All right, so what I propose is odd. I'm going to propose it and then talk you through it. In so doing, you know what I know, but also I'm trying to convince myself that my idea is applicable and good, and that I'm not just theorizing in my head, because a lot of my theory is brilliant, and then I'm afraid to put it into practice, because what if it's not as brilliant in practice? But I think this one's actually pretty good. So I'm going to tell you about it, and then we're going to talk about it, and then we're going to move on from there, because we have a banger video. It's going to be a really long one. Most of these are not going to be long. But I have enough to say, and it's time to just start saying, because I've tried. And every time I've tried, I've learned, and now I've learned enough. So it's time to go. And what I would like to do with this channel in particular is to address you, the kind of people at home, as someone who does want to hear about my cool idea. But even more than that, someone who is, yes. Because I just want someone who's on board with my cool idea so much so that they're like, hey, Phineas, how's your cool idea going? I was, spent last night with the gentleman from the harem video on my main channel, which is another reason that this channel exists, and I might get to that in a little bit, but the point of the story now is we were talking about like how has Christmas been going so far, because this is the day after Christmas, so I spent Christmas evening with this guy, and it was a very lovely evening for many reasons. And we just talked a little bit about how the holiday had been going so far, and I had been visiting my folks, and I got in yesterday in the evening, so it was a pretty quick turnaround, because I had flown out of state. Flown. And I had said that I had been busy with my projects because I finished up a key piece while I was at Mom and Dad's. It was very important that I got that out of the way for the grand timeline in my head. It was something that I had to make sure was out, in part so that it was out when I made this video, in part so that this video is out when I work on the other things. Like, the gears are spinning here. And that was something that I had to get done. So I told him that, it was fun seeing the family after I had gotten the work done, which I had to achieve, or that I had to accomplish, which took a little bit longer than I had anticipated, but I was very pleased that I was able to pull it all off and ultimately enjoy the holiday. Is pretty much how that conversation went. And then later on, maybe an hour later, he said, like, oh yeah, so you said that you were working, doing some stuff over the break. What were you working on? In all of my tenure, I have to step closer to the camera, but that means, because I was so insistent on the chow being there, that this is all the worst, so I'm going to have to, like, whoa. The problem is, it's not really even a problem, but that's borderline one of the first times ever anyone has asked, "What are you working on? How's that going?" People don't ask me that. And sure, you might make the argument I don't. No, I won't even do that. I will not even say that I don't tell people what I'm working on, so then they don't ask about it because they don't know what I'm working on. That's not true. It's just not. The people in my life presently know that I'm working all the time on all the time on side endeavors and projects, and I'm spinning things up, and I'm not just developing, but publishing, and things are in motion. People know that, both people who live near me, new friends and family members, and people back home who I maintain contact with online primarily. And there's things that I'm working on. People know that. And when I talk about it, I usually get excited about how the work is going. I don't go into detail about it because I think historically I overshare and tell people what I'm working on and I'm really excited, but they're not really excited back. And if they didn't ask me for that information and I proffered it anyway, then I can't be upset at their reaction when they didn't ask for how excited I am. And I can't even express it super well all of the time. It's just kind of a sticky situation. So I stopped oversharing and I just started meeting a social environment where it's at. And I'm not shoehorning in what I'm working on or what I'm excited about. And it's amazing how little, like how infrequently, passion comes into a conversation. People don't talk about what they're passionate about. And I would talk about what I'm passionate about. I love talking about what I'm passionate about because I'm passionate. It's so good. And I just want to share it. And I would try and share it with the people in my life and not be received very well. And so I was like, okay, well, then I'll just bide my time here and wait till it's maybe a more applicable. But then no one is talking about what they're passionate about. And even when I have brought up specifically, what are the hopes and dreams and ambitions in your heart? When you come to work and you face the existential dread of the meaningless of everything, what would be meaningful in your life? And have you thought of any steps that you'd be able to take to reach that point? People don't like that. I don't know why, but it seems like people don't like that. Never has someone liked that. Precious, precious few, so few people, and none of them are in my life right now, have done, like, that's not something that occurs. So last night, the guy I've been kind of seeing a little bit, asked, what are you working on? And I was like, oh, well, let me show you. I have a thing I can show you because I had something that I had published. It was online. You could take a look at it, click around, and I just said briefly, this is totally like the prototype, but building this out how I did when I did was an excellent test of my skills, and this is where it's headed, and it's the sort of thing I'll be doing, just dealing with a lot more. It was a basic building block that's very important for the future. Someone asked me about it, I was able to tell them about it, and that's super cool. And we kept it very short because we started cuddling and, uh, uh we just didn't talk very long about what I'm passionate about. We exhibited our passion in different ways. But it felt really cool that someone had wanted to know what I was working on and asked, and then I was able to tell them. And that is not the sort of thing that happens. And what I would like to do here is treat this channel, this audience, as people who want to hear what I'm passionate about, what I'm interested in, what I'm working on, how my day is going. Because I don't have anyone in my life right now to say, like, oh, hey, how was your day? And then I get to talk about my day, and then they're just excited to hear about how my day went, and my day had nothing in it, but I was just telling them about my day, and then ideally I'd be like, oh, hey, and then how was your day? And then I'm interested about, like, oh, what, you had a sandwich for lunch? That's crazy. Because I'm just excited to hear about how their day went. Like, I want that dynamic. And that's not something that I have presently, and something I've been working a lot on is sorting through how can I give myself, or when there's traits in the world I find desirable, or a trait in another person I find desirable, what could I do to bring that trait within myself almost to find myself desirable, or to bring an internal sense of worth, opposed to I want to find someone who wants to hear about my day. Could I tell myself about my day? What does that like? Well, first of all, YouTube lets me do that, which is really cool. And you can just kind of do that anyway, and like I've been doing things to help with all of that. But the experiment I want to run, and I think it's going to work, I'm pretty sure actually, is to just talk to you guys. You. I don't know where the camera is because like the viewfinder's there. You. I want to talk to you as though you were interested in my day, in what I have going on, which allows for a more personal endeavor, but it's not even something that's absurd to imagine. It's going to be a hyper-specific channel for a hyper-specific audience. These videos are going to be titled Nothing. And for some reason, talking about the mechanics and the logistics of that and the reasonings behind it feels wrong for right now, so we'll talk more about that later. But this is a cultivated experience of a precious few people who want exactly this. And maybe it's a little bit of like a Field of Dreams situation, if you know that movie, and no one even does. Where like if you build it, they will come. And the whole thing is the guy is like, I gotta build a football, or I gotta build a Babe Ruth. Baseball. I gotta build I gotta build a baseball field, or baseball whatever, real bad. I have to build one. And everyone's like, why are you building a baseball field? It's like, I gotta build one. And then every so often he hears like, if you build it, they will come. And then I don't even remember what happens in the end, but I think like a spiritual baseball team of ancestors or something comes together and they all play baseball together. I saw it once like 20 years ago and I used to love it. I've seen it more than once, but it's been a long time. But that stuck with me for a long time. If you build it, they will come. And if I make a channel that's me, it stands to reason that people who find the channel could come and be like, what? Phineas made a video. They're here for Phineas. It's already proven true, more or less. It's just I haven't allowed myself to dive all the way into this style of video. I've made attempts at it. I've made micro attempts at it, and then I've made larger attempts at it, which had the right idea. Like I made the bipolar disorder video, an hour and a half long, and it was an attempt. I was going for something, and it was lovely for what it was, but it wasn't this style of strict conversation. And there was a bit of like an angle to it inside of my head, and this also has a bit of an angle, but it's different. And this video is what this video needs to be, and this channel is what this channel needs to be. Because of the actual intentionality behind it, that if you're here, and you're still here, this is a long video, and I haven't said anything yet. I haven't said anything yet, we're just kind of hanging out. That's what this video is, that's what this channel is. Because I want someone to hang out with, super casually. Come on over and we'll discuss the way of things. We'll put on a record and talk a little bit about our days, but then also talk about the state of things and our plans to change the world. I said that. Our plans to change the world, because I have a lot of big dreams and ambitions, and I don't have anyone to talk with them about, and I don't take myself... Okay, that's not true. I take myself so seriously all of the time. But I don't think that means I deserve to be taken seriously. And something I would like to establish going forward is when I use really grand language, don't take me seriously. Think of it more as like a house cat who thinks he owns the house he lives in, and it's like, it's the cat's house, and he just allows you to live there. which is how cats are, and that is actually the truth. All cats own the houses they live in, and they just allow you to live there because that's how cats are. So the cat's walking around like, yes, human, I will allow you to pet me inside of my house that I own. And you're like, of course, cat, of course I will. And it's just the cat, it's just being the cat, right? So if I follow my own inclinations and my own nature with just like my own grand, big, giant ambition ideas, cool. You know, like it doesn't have to be a big deal, even though I talk about things in a big deal sort of way because I get really passionate, I get really excited. But that doesn't mean what I'm talking about is going to happen or is fundamentally a serious thing. And the friends I've had in the past often don't get that, and they don't know how to respond to my really big ideas and my really casual, extreme language. They don't know how to respond, or are they supposed to internalize it? And it's just like, nope, just in one ear and out the other. Nothing I say ultimately is that important. In one ear, out the other. Not a big deal. And someone in my life who just in one ear, out the other, wants to hear about my day and understands, oh, he's talking about changing the world again. Like, and I got plans about that too, man. I've got so many ideas. Both about like changing the actual world, but then also reducing the concept because all of us have a unique world within us. It doesn't feel good to diminish this, so I'm going to just bring the concept up and then brush right past it. Where each of us has a world contained within ourselves. By the time I change the world as I perceive it is my world. So I'm going to change the world, but that's just like my world. I can change my world at any point, but also if there's a rock on the ground, that's part of the world we all live in. So if I move a rock, I changed the world. Technically true. So technically true. I seek to change the world in some ways. Okay, we got that out of the way, and I will share more about that idea way later, and the other ideas I have for changing the world way later. But when I say casual language like that, imagine it in the smallest possible, technically accurate way. Forgot what I was talking about. Give me a second. Oh yeah. Just people who want to hear about me and my odd ideas, right? Because I don't have friends presently who I could invite over and just talk about our crazy ideas. And ideally, it would be a friend who also has crazy ideas. Not just hear my crazy ideas, but I want to hear your crazy ideas, and let's just be absolutely insane together. Batshit insane. Because I'm nuts. I'm nuts. I'm nuts. I have so many ideas, and they're weird, and they're conceptual, and they could theoretically work. I'm a man of theory. I love finding out weird things that could technically work, and then put them into the field and see if they work. Mad little scientist energy, and I'm just weird. I'm a weird ball. I'm a bit of a goofball sometimes. I film strange videos in the Chow Garden from Sonic Adventure 2. That's a weird thing to do. I'm a little bit weird. So I want weird friends who like do what I do. No one does what I do. Not really. There's VTubers exist, but they don't do this. There's humans who exist, but they don't do this either. And not even just like filming and cats who do what I do. Granted, okay, no one should do what I do. I do it anyway. I do it so you don't have to. Oh, goodness. Someone else with harebrained ideas, crazy schemes to see if it works. I love that so much. And by this, I mean musicians who want to put notes together in really odd ways. I love the music of Chrono Trigger because of the way the notes structure out. They never really resolve, and they're kind of permanently, like there's a YouTube video that breaks it down. It's so good. I'm not going to link it. Maybe I will. I don't know how ambitious I'm feeling. It's such a good video. because it never like all the way resolves, and it puts notes together that shouldn't go together, but they do for a very specific mechanical reason of music theory, I guess. Or they go together, they don't conflict, and there's a whole YouTube video about it, and I recommend it for sure. So someone in my life who has that ambition or understanding of music, and they want to put instruments together in a way they don't normally go together. Or I like math rock a lot. It's a weird genre. I love it. And someone who wants to just do weird things with music. My favorite book is one of them is House of Leaves, which is by Daniel D. Zalewski, I think. And it is a book about, make sure I can get this right. In the novel, a man named Zampano took a bunch of scattered notes about a fictional, it's apparently fictional. I like to imagine that it's real, but it's probably fictional. About a documentary called The Navidson Record, which is about a house that's bigger on the inside than the outside. So there's a fictional movie that a fictional guy took notes about. Then another fictional guy named Mr. Truant found Zampano's notes and compiled all of them into the book House of Leaves, which was then received by the editor and turned into a proper manuscript. There's footnotes where the editor says, like, note from the editor, Mr. Truant was unclear about this meaning, but then said specifically this is exactly the correct meaning and was very firm about the language. And they'll make little notes about what Mr. Truant said. So Daniel D. Zalewski, God bless him, wrote a book about a system of notes, about a movie that may or may not exist. It probably doesn't exist. I love it so much. Sometimes it reads like a thrilling adventure novel. Sometimes it reads like a textbook. It's all over the place. Anytime the word house shows up, it's in blue. The word minotaur shows up twice, and it's in red. Sometimes the words on the page, when they're exploring the house, and they go deeper and deeper into the dark recesses of a house that's bigger on the inside than it is on the outside, the words on the page fall apart. And when they like step down a spiral staircase into the abyss, then the words are like stair-step down. And when they're describing a chasm, like the words on the page are chasm-like. And it's experimental, and it's weird, and it's so good. I like things that are weird and so good. And I like people who are trying to do weird things. Something weird that fell short of its goal, but progressed the weird threshold. Like, I love that so much. I don't want another book. I want another weird book, because there's not enough weird books. There's not enough weird furry VTubers. There's not enough weird normal YouTubers. But if they were normal, I wouldn't watch them because they're not furry VTubers, and this is my second monitor content. This is the sort of thing I love. Guy talks to you, but also just the perambulation, the gentle moving about on the screen. I love this new framing, by the way. I'm probably going to take this into all my other videos, or maybe it's just a this channel thing, because you can see so much of me, baby. I don't got full body tracking for no reason. I got full body tracking for useful reasons. And that's what I'm thinking about this channel. It is deeply useful for reasons that you might not expect. Because I want someone who has weird ideas in my life. Someone I could invite over and be like, hey, here's my weird ambitions. How's your weird ambitions? Loving it. And to talk through how we want to change the world, or just our worlds, the world of art. I am turning furry VTubing upside down on its head because I'm the only furry VTuber who's doing this. It's weird. It's weird. And I like that. I like that a lot. The things that I make are weird. Now, it's hard finding weird people who are into weird things like this. It's very hard to do. We don't really go to clubs. We get made fun of a lot, so we try not to be weird too loudly. Otherwise, we're going to get made fun of. And it's important to blend in with the humans around us because we're social creatures. And if someone has an extra mango, they're never going to give me their extra mango if I'm weird. I have to be normal in order to get the mango. it's important to try not to be too weird, is something that we learn. And then because I'm a little bit weird and I want to have someone weird in my life, and I don't have anyone who's weird. Like really weird, though. Like really weird, I don't really have that, and I would like to have that. So, if you build it, they will come. Little Chow. I don't know why I pointed him out. I think I was talking to the Chow for a second. The Chow's not weird. The Chow is more normal than me right now. Are you kidding me? But I want someone weird in my life, and the Chow understands that, and ideally so do you. If you're still here, if you are still here, maybe you kind of get a little bit of what's going on here and what's going through my head. Otherwise, you're just like this little Panther boy moves around on the screen. Second monitor content, baby. Primary monitor content if you are a lady or gentleman of exceptional standards. Look at you. Look at you go. You're killing it. You're crushing it. Because I just have this theory. And it stands to reason, I think. And so let me know what you think of my theory, but I think it's true. I think it's accurate. I think we might be onto something. It might even be inarguable here. If I allow myself to just kind of be weird, and I'm weird, and allowing myself to be weird so far has been fulfilling. I kind of enjoy it. So if I allow it and do it, and just be weird, and people find this, and they're like, well, that's kind of weird. And if they're like on board with it, cool. Cool. Like, it's mass media, so it will never really be able to be, friend territory, but it might be able to be a little bit less alone territory. If I can maintain on my end that when I film one of these videos, I'm talking to an audience that wants to be here, I can kind of treat that as someone wants to hear about how weird I am. So I can go ahead and be weird, not for myself, but for a joint endeavor. If you want to bear witness to weird, and I want to express weird, that's a positive-sum game. The world is a better place. We have created value. I want something, you want something. We worked together to make it occur. Lovely. This is capitalism at its finest, baby. Except for the channel is free. Like, I see nothing wrong with any of this. I kind of think I'm going to bounce onto the date standard now, because I don't know where else to bounce onto, and it is something that needs to be said, so I'm going to go ahead and say it now. This video was titled a date. It was titled a date. And the next one will also be titled a date. The date it was uploaded. Or the date it was filmed, probably. Or something like that. Or that it might change, it might vary. Probably it's going to be the dates, though, just because that's easy to know. It's like, oh yeah, this is the video that was updated, on the 17th, or whatever, right? Because, as I said earlier, and then I walked away from, something challenging happened 3 to 4 weeks ago, is when I made that little harem video that went unexpectedly well, got like 10,000 views, which for me is like a whole bunch, and it just skyrocketed my subscribers, and I have like 1,000 now, which is a whole bunch. That's actually super duper cool. I don't mean to like belittle that whatsoever. It was just really cool. And then there was lots of comments, and people were like, oh, we love the giggly boy, and a lot of like support there, and it felt really good. That feel-good boost threw off the Emperor's Groove, which is so dumb to say. I hate saying that because it's like, oh, I'm suffering from success. And it's like, first of all, you're not suffering from success. You're not suffering, and you don't have success. Get out of here. One YouTube video is like, it's fine. It's just I puff it up inside of my head because I'm such a magnificent little boy and I want to puff things up all the time. But I do it even if I don't want to puff it up. And I'm having the hardest time with it's just a video, not a big deal, because I was just being honestly myself in that video, and it went well, so then you want all of the other videos to also go well. What did that video do right that you could then emulate or try to bring into the other videos so more people see them, so you get more views and more comments, because that feels really good. And that system of how do I make another video that compares because that video did really well, is antithetical to what I'm trying to achieve. Just gotta check to make sure I'm still recording. The audio is still good. I'm terrified of these things. So, And then when I don't know how to title something the right way, then like no one's gonna see it. You gotta get them to click on it, and you gotta have a thumbnail, or no one's gonna see it, and then you're not gonna get the feel goods like you got from the harem video. And that disrupts me from making the content that matters. And also, I don't like the idea of making something that someone's likely to click upon, and then if it's not what they're actually interested in, sure, they can just click away, but it feels like I tricked someone. And if I use a clickbaity title, and sometimes I'll if I use the word furry in a title, the video usually goes pretty well. And it's like harem on a furry to tell you about the real life harem that he's in. Like that is a heckin' good title. And a lot of my titles I think can be like not too bad. But also it just feels like trying to get views. Because it is. If it's a clickable title, then someone's gonna be more likely to click on it. It's more clickable. Clearly. I don't want this channel to be clickable. I am not clickable. I'm not clickable. Otherwise, people would have clicked. People have clicked on YouTube. People have clicked. I'm very happy people have clicked. Thanks for clicking. Like, thumbs up to you. Yes, you're doing great. You. Good job. Thanks for being here. How are you doing? I'm loving it. What? Clicking. Not typically clickable. It happened. But it's not the sort of thing that I want to pursue. It feels gross. It's not me. I hate it. And it disrupts me from saying things as openly and honestly as I would like to. Because if I say something that's clickable, but the contents of the video either are not clickable or it has unclickable moments, did I lie by tricking someone into clicking onto a video that they didn't want? I don't overthink things. You overthink things. Else, maybe I think exactly the right amount and no one else is thinking enough. I do it so you don't have to. So where this channel is just me hanging out, and I have a lot more casual ideas I'm so excited about, and things I want to casually bring up, which we'll get to that territory soon. If not this video, then soon, but maybe this video, because I don't even know what's going to happen in this video. It is natural and flowing, and we are going with that good flow, and the good flow we're at has brought us here right now in front of the Chao Garden. So if I make video titles that don't mean a goddamn thing, the only thing you could ascertain from this video is that it was the first one that was uploaded, because compared to all of the other videos, it's the one with the earliest date. That's all you know. And that it was long. And that I have my black hair now, and I usually have my white hair, and I'm actually really happy to have my black hair right now. And I have thoughts about that too, but this feels really excellent right now. All things are as they should be, and that's excellent, and that's rare. Because usually things are not as they should be, and I am usually absurdly aware that things are not as they should be. I am usually out of position, or the world is out of position, because strange things are happening all of the time, and I get a little bit like, what is going on? Work sometimes agitates me way more than it should, because I was like, what is going on? Things are not how they're supposed to be. And it's like, Phineas, is it the workplace, or is it everything else in life that you're projecting onto the workplace because you feel like if you can solve the workplace, you can solve yourself? I don't do that too often, but I do it still more often than I would like. One thing that's going to be really hard is, no, dang it. We're going to keep it in. We power through. We stay the course. Something here that's going to be really hard for me to do is keep my pauses in. Because you can't pause in real life. You can't pause in a real life conversation. Granted, it's not 100% a conversation. This is a YouTube video, silly Billy. Someday I would like to turn this into a conversation. I've got plans about that. And this weekend, actually, I'm going to start putting some of them into practice. I'm going to put together, today I did a beta program. Thanks for asking about my day. What? We were just talking about that. You're so cool. Thank you. What? Oh my gosh, no one does that. Ah, it's already come true. The ambitions, the hopes, and the dreams. already coming true. Excellent. Things are as they should be. Thank you for asking about my day. What? Yes. So I was extremely distraught because I had to go to work, and I didn't want to have to go to work, but not in the standard I have to go to work way. At least because I always feel like I'm super special and unique and fantastic, and so I want to not go to work in a way that's different than everyone else because I have discovered the future. My future. The future. Because I'm going to be carrying my future, my endeavors as I pursue what I love, where I'm supposed to be, because this is the most correct I've ever felt. It. Guys, I'm doing something. Hang on. Whoa. I'm doing something so weird right now, and I feel more correct than I've ever felt in my life. I'm aware how weird this is. It's actually probably even more weird than I think that it is, and I feel fucking good about it. That's weird. I don't know what to do with that. But yes, this is correct. Completely correct. This is the right thing. I've never been happier than I am when I'm in all of my VR as a little kitty cat talking about strange things. In the Chow Garden at Sonic Adventure 2. Never happier in my life. This is so good. Maybe I've been happier in my life once or twice. You can tell how serious I am because I qualified the statement. This is the best thing. So, when I have to go to a human job, I am actively walking away from the best thing. But I feel a lot of... I experience challenge because as I move to work, and I move away from my VR setup and my programming setup, and where I'm able to make videos that I love and work on the other endeavors that are on the way because I have other weird things on the way. Very weird things. And already, some people have found great value in what I have done. A few comments recently, someone I don't quite remember who it was, commented that the video I made about being your own boyfriend was able to help them out and frame an activity they had taken. They went out to like a restaurant on their own for the first time, or first time in a while, and had a really lovely evening. And my words helped contextualize what was going on in that moment, and they got good value out of that. And that's a weird thought. And it's a weird way to express the weird thought. That was a weird video. What I do is strange. And they got something unique out of the strange thing that I made. That's just one out of several comments. There are people who have gotten good things out of what I have done so far. That's making the world a better place. And all I have to do to make the world a better place is put on my VR gear, not always the easiest thing to do, but it gets easier the more that I allow myself to just have fun with it. And people tend to enjoy, hey, this guy's having fun. Heck yeah, man. Or I think sometimes people are really actually secret, just like, hey, this man has a blue fucking leg. Like, what? People want the blue leg. That's great. You know? I can do that. I can do that for you. For you, the good people at home. For you. All the blue leg you desire because of the new framing where I can be just such like a little movie groovy flowy boy. I like being further away from the camera. I was insecure about it at first, but I feel like a champion now. Unadulterated. Unadulterated me. I haven't really expressed unadulterated me. I love it. It's super fun. As it turns out, it's really fun expressing who you are, even if that does mean you have to accept who you are. Not great. It's not great, but it does give the world more strange furry VTubing content. I don't know if that was a niche the world really needed more of, but it's the direction I am shaping the world into. Eh. So when I go to my human job, I am walking away from making my world, and so I'm going to use right now a lot of really extreme language that's not true, just because I'm an extreme little boy, so I'm going to say it in really extreme ways. But it's not how I actually feel, or if I do feel it that way, it's only how I feel. Usually for about 2 hours in a day, for the hour it takes to get to my human job, and actually usually about 2.5 to 3 hours at work, I'm usually pretty pissy, and then I get better. But for that period of time, I am navigating away from my own dreams, but also my own future, like what this is, what this looks like, what I'm doing, what I will be doing, what my life is. When I reach the point, whatever I'm doing, wherever I go, I will be doing this for so long. And I guess, yeah, that's a hobby, but I've had hobbies before. And no hobby has touched me on the spiritual level that videography has with my VTubing kitty cat form. No hobby has been like this. And there's been instances when I've been writing a story I'm especially into, and usually it's when it's a story that's emotionally laden or something that's very important for me to express. And if I have to be interrupted during one of those stories, I usually get pretty pissy for the time it takes to get to work or go to my obligation. It takes me a few hours to reset because I was interrupted from something I thoroughly was enjoying, which was that pure, honest expression of emotionality. I was in the flow, I was in the zone, making the world a different place at the very least. But I think any expression of emotionality makes the world a better place because you added to the world something that you feel and that you bring into the real world can only come from you because no one can feel things the way you feel things. So if you're feeling something and at the same time you make anything, you made the world a better place because there is now a new representation of how it's possible to feel. There's been isolated moments. There have been isolated moments when I've been writing stories from an emotional standpoint or stories that became deeply emotional. I was interrupted and became pissy. And then I pick up the work after. I'm really proud of the story. You know, it doesn't end there, of course. Life is ebbs and flows, and you go to work and then you come back and then you can resume living your best life, whatever. But this is easier to do than make stories, arguably. More fun, more personally fulfilling, more spiritually satisfying. It's spiritually satisfying. Sometimes an individual story has been spiritually satisfying for me to write, and usually those are the emotional stories like I've been talking about. Every video I make has been fulfilling to some degree, even the ones I consider failures, and not even from a metric of like, oh, no one watched it, it was a failure. But I know what I'm trying to go for every time I make a video or what I'm trying to learn. So I know, based on my own personal metrics, what videos were failures, which ones were successful. And I know what to learn from the failures of my videos, so no video was a failure. Whatever. So whatever. Some videos failed my personal metrics, and I learned from them. But they still did not achieve what I had hoped that they would achieve. Let my videos be failures. Get out of here. Let my videos be failures now and then. Sometimes my videos are failures. Not a big deal. But through all of that, I learned more about making videos, how to say my ideas. If I tried to express an idea once and it didn't quite land, I know more about how to express the idea differently. I went through that gauntlet, the gamut of. I did all of that for writing, and I'm not an amazing writer, but I'm good enough. And I'm very actually quite content with my abilities as a writer. And what I've been seeking to do with videography, I have accomplished with writing. And I want to reach the point, and I'm more or less feel like I'm there, where I'm content with my ability to make videos, get on camera, know what I want to talk about, or just to be able to talk because I know what emotional states I want to express. And if you can accurately, like with the correct intentionality, embody the emotional state and allow the words and the body movements to come through you, you can allow a video of emotional content to exist that I did not have to specifically craft. All I had to do was be an emotional little lad, shake my blue leg, and wiggle my hips because I have a better framing now, be handsome. I had to be handsome. And that's it. If I maintain this level of integrity, at any given point, I am 10 minutes from spiritual satisfaction. If all my stuff is charged, it takes me 10 minutes to get my setup arranged. I have to drape a blanket over my computer monitor and then a jacket over my other monitor. I have to adorn all of my trackers, and I've got 6. I got 6 total. There I demonstrated I have all 6. But then I have one on my headset too, which is the continuous tracking, which helps me be as happy as I am. I know the programs I need to open. Like, it takes about 10 minutes from 0 to living my dreams and making the world demonstrably a better place, because there are people who like what I do. There are people who watch a Phineas Farmer video and become besides themselves with joy. You have a you have excellent taste, but I do have questions about your taste. Because I'm a little strange, and if you like this, oh, honey, you've got work to do. A lot of souls. I assure you, this is not normal. I don't know if liking this is normal. I like this, and I am not normal, but I don't know if someone who is normal could like this. I don't know. That's got to be on your end. I cannot answer for you. If you like this, hi, how are you? You know, like, what? This is so good. And I can just do this. 10 minutes, and I'm in. And then the only challenge is, like, am I drinking enough water? Am I overheating? What? Deep spiritual fulfillment is 10 minutes away. Making the world a better place because I'm able to make something which is deeply spiritually fulfilling for me that some people thoroughly enjoy. Some people get a lot out of what I do, and often I think it's the more quasi-pseudo-intellectually philosophical wannabe videos where I talk about my strange ideas, because I have a lot of strange ideas. One of the ones I'm going to bring up next is going to be the idea of the captor and the captive, the jailer and the captor, something like that. There's the verbiage is a little awkward. But the idea there is often a sentiment like, I want to break free. I wish I could break out of my shell. I wish I could be free. I wish I could just make these videos. And I want to be able to do that. I want to be able to get out. I want to break out. I want to break free. But those barriers are inside of my own head. I'm the one who holds myself back from, say, wearing a dress to Thanksgiving dinner with my family. Technically, I can do that, and if I have a supportive family, I might even know intellectually they would be totally fine with that, or maybe even they would be happy that I finally let myself do that, and I'm the one who holds myself back. I wish I could break free, but there's an element where I'm the one who's holding myself back. If society says, don't become a furry VTuber and talk about this stuff too, like, furry VTubing is bad enough. I just made it way worse. Way worse, dude. Like, way worse, man. Furry VTubing did not need this. did, not, did not need this. So, but even if society helped to inform our decision making about whether or not I'm going to wear a dress to dinner or out to a movie, and that would be societally a strange thing for me to do, but ultimately it is fundamentally my decision. If I have unsupportive family members who would ostracize me and kick me onto the curb after they curb stomped me, and it would be the worst decision of my life, which is possible. Some people are living that life now, where to be themselves would be to die. Like, that is a very serious situation, and that is real. So please don't misunderstand what I'm saying, but the principle exists that technically speaking, you could commit suicide by wearing dress. If you live in that part of the world, that's something you could do. Theoretically. Don't do that. Do not do that. If it's not safe for you to be who you are, do not be who you are. Live every day in deep fear. Stay safe. And every day, within your zone of safety, strive to find a better way. Try and find a way out. It's going to be okay. But you have to stay safe, and you're going to have to be really smart about this, and you're going to have to be really patient. And on the other end of it, all of the lessons that you had to learn, that you had to teach yourself in order to make it through and out of the negative circumstance you find yourself currently in, all of the things you've learned to get through that will help you kick ass. You will kick ass. I hate to say it, but depending on the circumstances exactly, you might turn into a furry VTuber. I don't, so I don't know. Maybe it would be better to put on the dress. Just kidding. Just kidding. But I just want. But the lessons I've learned thus far have helped me to kick tremendous ass. I got strunk, and a lot of people don't have to get strunk in that way. You might have to. And if you do, be safe and grow strong, and it will be okay. It might take a while, but be safe and be good. And theoretically, what I'm trying to say, though, is that yeah, I lost myself by going to an absolute extreme, which usually I like doing, and this time it just completely derailed my own point, which I apologize for, but I felt like it was really important to say. But typically more in like smaller ways. It was really hard because I have been married before. I was married for 8 years. I know that's something that you know. And it was very hard to leave that deeply unsupportive marriage because the first 2 years were like, okay. And then it was like super not okay. I was drinking in the supply closet at work before I moved away. And then I moved away and then started to get better and become a happier little boy and learn more about what it was to express myself and to learn what it's like for ideas to be safe. And ideas used to not be safe. There used to be a do not share what you're excited about, never bring these things up because that will be used against you. Your dreams and ambitions are fodder, and that's not safe. Like, if it goes outside of you, it dies outside of you. Like, your dreams will only exist within, like, that's where I came from. And when I left and started to like get better, eventually it turned me into a VTubing furry. Not exactly. I kind of wanted to be a VTubing furry anyway, but I think, I don't know, life just happened. Life happened. And I grew strong. And there are many factors to why it took me so long to leave that challenging situation. Many factors. And ultimately, through all of those factors, it was my decision to stay. Ultimately. And that is a harsh example of the idea I have, though, of I was holding myself back and where I wanted to break free, if I am also holding myself back, could it not instead be to let myself be free? Easier said than done. I have an entire video. I could talk for hours on that subject and actually script it out and make a good delivery for it. That's a video I want to be able to make because that's a well thought out idea. I threw it out kind of casually and it was stumbly because I got really weird about it and went to extreme examples, but I could absolutely make that not a big deal. 100% not a big deal. And I love that thought. And I know how the thought came about because it's really sweet. Like, personal anecdote about how I came into that idea, which would tie the audience into who I am as a presenter. So then when I go on to present the idea proper, they're like, oh wow, I already like this guy a little bit. He was personable because he told a personable story as he led into this idea that I think is pretty cool. As I express the idea, which I would do in better ways than I did right now because I would have scripted it out ahead of time, people would be like, wow, this kind of makes sense. As I keep on going through, and I would probably be a little bit humorous because I'm a giggle boy, they're like, wow, this is such an engaging and fantastic. Okay, I don't know if it would actually be that engaging of a video, but I could talk about that at length and teach you guys what I know about letting yourself become free instead of having to break out. And that exact principle has helped me as recently as within the week. Because at Christmas time, I was visiting Mom and Dad, so within 4 days, that principle of being your own jailer and your own captive came into play. I was talking with Mom and talking about how some of what I've wanted to achieve with Phineas Former is to kind of break out and to be me, to have a place to display me. Because I don't have that. I've never really had that. I've never really had people who wanted to hear about my day and wanted to hear about me and were interested and excited about who I am. And I'm sure I'm discrediting a lot of people when I say that. But there's a difference between people in your life who are supportive, but then also people who actively ask, what have you been working on over Christmas break? And people who want to see it. It's different. And someone who is supportive is different than active support. If your family is supportive and you know they would be okay with you wearing a dress to dinner and you're just not comfortable doing that yet and you are holding yourself back, which is valid for a lot of reasons, that supportive family is different than the family that suggests, hey, you should wear a dress to dinner. What do you think of this one? And they're trying to be actively really supportive is different than friends who would be okay if you took the step. Someone with an active support helps you take that step. I don't have that. I don't think I've ever really had that. And I don't have that now. It's YouTube, baby. Oh, you know, what are you going to do? But it's certainly better than nothing, and as I said before already, deep spiritual satisfaction. That's not the sort of thing that a furry VTuber says. That's not the sort of thing that a YouTuber says. That's not the sort of thing anyone is saying lately. You have to go to crazy people to hear the words deep spiritual satisfaction. Crazy people say that. Only crazy people say that. And I don't know so much that I would like to normalize being crazy so much as just normalize it for myself. This is like the Phineas Former crazy zone. Because I'm nuts. I'm super duper nuts. It's understandable that no one would be like, hey, Phineas Former, you should be more nuts. Like, have you been insane lately? Tell me about that. Like, that's a weird thing to want because I'm weird. So this is the space where that goes. And there is no whether you guys want it or not, because if you're here, this has been a long video. Editing has been minimal, so minimal. I think 2 things so far, maybe 3, which were just pauses. I tripped up on the words, but even pauses I want to keep in as much as I can. This is just me. This is just we're hanging out. This is just furry with a better framing than ever before, living large, having a chat. That's what this is. I've scarcely been happier. I love this so much. And as I was saying, with how the captive and jailer thing came up, is I was talking with Mom, and kind of about just how rewarding this has been so far a little bit. But gosh, I'm forgetting the exact context of it. I'm forgetting the exact context of how it all came up. Hang on, sorry. Thought I heard like a knock somewhere, and I'm sure I didn't. Or someone like in another apartment dropped something. I'm just really nervous. A lot of how just what I've learned in life is to be very, very cautious about how much noise I'm making and how visible I am. So making a YouTube channel where I am ultimately visible to people who choose to view it is a bold decision, but it's that key factor, choose to view it. Excellent. And the thing with the whole titles that I brought up earlier, or maybe the title is over here. I don't know where the title goes. Ciao. Is no one even clicked on this who's like, wow, I can't wait to click on this. So people who are here want to be here. So if I can get that through my thick head, super thick head, very thick, very unintelligent, I have a thick head, that people want to be here, I can just be myself and understand that people want to see myself. So I can be in my living room with all of my VR gear that takes 10 minutes to put on and be myself. And be well received. Because if you don't receive this video well and you're still watching this video, you've got problems. I'm in the middle of telling a story, and the story has to wait because I'm literally not done talking about that to whoever that is, whoever I just spoke to. If you don't like this and you're still watching this, what are you doing? And if you're watching it, ironically, for some reason, that doesn't exist. That's not a thing. That's not a thing. You watched it. If you watched it and you didn't like it, what are you doing? Anyway, I don't even think that person exists, but if they exist, I had to say that for that person. Literally, that person is just, now they know, oh, wait, it's weird that I'm watching this and I don't like it, and I'm still watching it, because the man I was watching that I don't like said it and called it out. So I hope that they feel weird, because they should. I want to bring back societal shame a little bit, because I just described something that was really weird, and then I said point blank, and I made everyone wait. Everyone, all the people want to hear my story about the jailer and the captor, and I made everyone wait because we were in threat of someone watching this who doesn't like it, but they're still watching this. There's so much stuff on the internet for you to watch. Don't watch something you don't like. Get out of here. And because there's so much stuff on the internet that anyone can watch, you're only going to watch stuff that you like. So what am I worried about making a video and what if people don't like it? And it's like, then they won't watch it. But it's always framed kind of negatively, right? Like, what if they don't like it? And that's kind of like a small approach. That's a small mentality. And as what if they don't like it? And you're kind of worried about that, right? It's less so that people who don't like it will not watch your video, because that is true. Also true, people who do like your video will watch your video. Do not be sad that a lot of people will not like your video, because there's a lot of people in the world, and a lot of people don't like a lot of things. Be excited that some people want your video. And I'm in a blessed position where already some people have wanted my videos. For whatever reason. I can't say what your reason is, but I'm sure that they're all very good, and I'm sure they're very good. I'm sure that you're very good. You seem excellent to me. In my uneducated opinion, deeply uneducated opinion, you're great. You're crushing it over here. You're doing good. as I was saying before I interrupted myself, which happens a lot, I assure you. Even even more than you know, it happens a lot. Jailer and Captor, I can't get this story out because I'm too busy living my life and feeling spiritually fulfilled. What's a boy to do? What's a boy to do? Okay. Gosh, I just want to get this story out, man. I was talking with Mother. I forgot exactly the context, but some of what I've been trying to do and struggling with, I haven't been able to figure it out, is because I want to display me. I've never really been on display, and I've reached the point where I understand that being on YouTube is kind of a safe place to display elements of self in an odd way because it's public and that feels like a scary thing to do, to put yourself out there. But if you put yourself out there and only people who want to see it, then you didn't really put yourself out there. You only put yourself out to people who want it. And that's the world that we live in. The algorithm is kind of smart, I imagine. It feels really dumb, but I'm sure a lot of smart people put it together, and maybe it'll actually do its job the right way, and only people who want this video receive this video. That's great. In which case, I can just go ahead and make the video and trust it'll go to the audience that it wants to go to. And that can be a challenging mentality when you're starting. And so thankfully, I've started already on my other channel, and I know that people actually do want this. Maybe not a lot of people, but some. So I can do this understanding that I want this and other people also want this. Anyway, I already talked about that. What I'm trying to say with this is I've wanted to reach the point where I can be additionally emotionally vulnerable and more free with my words. This is the channel where I can just bring up, oh hey yeah, and then I was in a contentious marriage for 8 years and I've been divorced, and that's not the sort of thing I want to just drop onto another video, but that's the sort of thing that casually you can kind of bring up and expect in this video, which by the way, that's like what the hair signifies. The black hair, white collar is more guy stands in room talks to you, and that's just the more casual thing. And I want to be more careful with how I present myself in other ways moving forward. I'm working on it. This whole thing is still evolving. What I'm saying, though, is I've had a really hard time figuring out what that looks like. And if I want to be vulnerable, I've tried pushing out parts of me because I want to be vulnerable, and I'm having a hard time being vulnerable all of the time. It's like impossible sometimes. So I have to push out, like this is a vulnerable piece of me that I'm going to push out so then I can make a video about that. I want to be vulnerable right now. Here's a piece of me, behold. And just, this is a vulnerable piece of me, have it. And I would push it out because I want to display some of my vulnerable pieces. And it hasn't felt right, and I've been trying and just kind of figuring it out, trying to learn what that system is like. How do you express vulnerability? Jailer and Captive comes in. I'm pushing out something that I feel precious towards and something that I want to display because I have this ability to be honest with my emotions, and that's something that I feel is important to display. I've been trying to push out those vulnerable pieces, but also possible is instead to lower down all of those walls and allow yourself to be seen. To push out an element of being vulnerable would be to make a video about my contentious 8-year marriage or whatever, or to push outward and make a video about having bipolar disorder, which is something that I did. It didn't land, but I had to make that video to be able to learn more about it. Something didn't feel right. It's because I was pushing out a vulnerable piece of me. The correct approach for this instance, but I think in general it's the correct approach, is to stay firm where I'm at and just lower the walls. They're my walls. Bring it down, bring it down. It's my walls, and just bring it down. So I don't have to push anything out. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to be anything. I just get to go ahead and be me. Put on all of my VR gear, dance, and be me. And if I can do it with the correct levels of integrity and allow myself to say the things that typically I do not allow myself to say, such as 8-year marriage or whatever, then that's how I can express vulnerability without trying to force it out, because that's just kind of weird. It doesn't fit. It's odd. And the thing with that is nobody asked. And if people ask, like, hey, Phineas, what's your opinions on divorce? I could be like, well, hey, let me make a whole video about that. Whole video series, baby. You got lots of fodder there. That's free. You want some content? Hey, I got stories for you. But if no one asked about that, it's kind of a weird thing to push out. Sometimes it makes sense. No one asked for my questions about my views on Resonant. That's okay. That's something else. Anyway, but to lower those walls and allow yourself to be freely vulnerable without needing to prove anything about it, that's a more delicate affair. It's easier to do. It feels fucking good. That's it. That's the whole story, basically. Is, yeah, you want to push out of the boundaries so you can express your vulnerability to the world and be seen, because I feel like no one has ever really seen me. It's not completely true, but no one's seen me for a really long time. And just in my day-to-day life, it doesn't really happen. And I really want to be seen. So just the natural mentality is to push out and make myself be seen. This is me, behold. And harder is to just do this. Video that doesn't even really have a title, and I'm not doing thumbnails on this channel, not even a little bit. I'm not, like, I mean, so aside from it being deeply visually pleasing, this is it. This is what it is. This is who I am. This is where I am. If you want Phineas Former, I got news for you, baby. It's here. And this is not going anywhere. This is here. This is it. This is the thing. And if you're like, wow, I hope that there's more of this, there is, and there is going to be, because this is sustainable as heck. I love this. So if you love this, hoo boy, buckle in, and I hope you're ready for the rest of your life, because for as long as you like this, this is here. I can't even say unless circumstances take place. There is no circumstance that could take place. I will fight like hell for this. I will move back home and live with my folks before I sell my VR and computer, which are the only two things that I need. If I come into financial hardships right now, I'll figure out anything else. I have 2 headsets that all serve, like 2 other heads. Like I would sell other things if I had to. I would figure out a way. I would start doing commissions again, which is really challenging for me. Like, I would find a way to keep doing this. This is important to me. I love this. I would find a way to keep doing this. I will fight like hell in high water. This will not stop. I love this. Just wait, like, this is correct. This is here. A year from now, 2 years from now, until I graduate from this, and there's going to be a point where I do graduate from this, and I'll be moving on to other endeavors. And that's only going to happen, really, when I'm able to pass the torch on after I have either made other people weird or found other people who are weird and turned them into this. Like, this is here. And I specifically am this. Year, 2 years, 5 years, like, I can't say, like, 5 years is a lot, but also this is in my 5-year plan. 5 years, I'm still doing this. And this has grown. That's what my 5-year plan is. That's my 10-year plan. My 10-year plan is probably to have moved on from this and still be visiting it, be tied into it. Like, but this is the thing. This is it. This is what I've been working towards, fighting for, I've been learning videography to be able to do this. I've been learning more about my emotional states and how to casually bring up a challenging subject in a way that makes sense for this. To be able to do this, to make this, exactly this channel, this. My other channels, more than one, have been training for this. Live streams have been training for this. What you see is the new thing. Like, this is a problem, and not every video is going to be this long, God forbid. They might be, because I love this, but they might be shorter ones where I just tell you about my day. Probably there'll be a little bit longer ones. Did I hear another click? I know, like, my roommates, why am I so worried about it? It's just, it's a part of me, man. I put in the earbuds on the Quest Pro. I'm not even playing. Everything's good, right? Okay. Gosh. Because that just helps me. I don't have the music playing right now, but it helps me be a little more isolated in myself. If that's like the sound, like the dampening, so it's just me being in VR right now. But every now and then I'll still hear like a knock or something, and it takes me right out of it, and it's just so inside of me, like, oh, what's going on? Is there anyone? Am I bothering? Like, what's up? And then I have to like check, like, is everything still recording? Is everyone like, does anyone need anything? Like, what's up? And even like my roommate's super chill, so that's not even a problem if he's home. And I'm getting better about that. That's something I've had to get over too, is making videos while he's around and even just home, because the walls are kind of thin here still. So like, I, as the roommate who pays rent, am allowed to make videos, and that was the thing that I made very clear what I do. And I'm not even super loud about it all the time. I just dance, you know. I just get nervous a lot. And so that made me nervous and derailed everything. And he's not even home, though, which is another excellent thing. He's still gone for the holidays. I got back before he did. So I can just kind of like do this and not even have to worry about that additional stressor of someone else also being home, which I'm getting better at. But being able to do this right now is so cool. And I don't have to be trying super hard for it. All I gotta do, really, is lower down the walls that I established for myself and allow myself to be seen. That's so cool. And there's someone out there, there's people out there, there's people that you are out there who's still watching this video who wants to see this. What a good pair we make. That's so good. Are you kidding me? Usually, there are not good pairs. Usually, it's hard to find where you fit in. Usually, it's hard finding the content that you love. And it's hard finding consistency. And I am not consistent, save for consistently me. So if you like this, thumbs up to you, but also like thumbs down, buddy. You have I don't know what the person looks like who likes this, because the only person I know who likes this is me. And then like a few of the commenters, the good people at home, because I love your comments, and some of you have like reached out and more like personal, like out on other platforms and stuff. Super cool. There are people who really like this. I'm on board. But some of the issue, I think, is then I was like, oh, well, if you like that, do you want more? And then I made more, and there's going to be more, because I love this so much. And to the extent that other people also love this so much, I have excellent news, you know? Excellent news. It's here. This is here. And I think that's probably gonna be it. Because there's other things I could say, other things I do want to say, but I feel like that's just a good place to put it. First video, we touched on all the subjects, the little thing about the titles, the Chow. I didn't tell you why we're in the Chow Garden. Let me see how long this video is real quick and see if I want to keep going or not. Actually, nope, I thought about that. That's a story that waits for later. You already got your story today. The story you got today was about the jailer and the captive. That's the story that you got today. You have to wait for the next one. But there's going to be more, because this is going to be around for a long time. So you wait for the stories, you wait for the next one. But you had a great one for today. You had a few good ones for today, and then I had some great ones too. Because this is the most spiritually fulfilling borderline. This is deeply spiritually fulfilling to me. And all it did was take 10 minutes to put on all of this stuff and do this. So then I'm going to go um, put together my other channel and probably put together my other channel. I just have some thinking to do. I was going to put it on its own channel, Phineas Former Vlogs. But I think this might be a Phineas Former longer video. I think that feels a little better, maybe? I don't know for sure. I'll learn. I'm figuring it out. We'll figure it out. We'll get there together. So that's it, though. That's what this video was. I don't think we quite stuck the landing, but can't stick every landing. I don't know how to end the video, so I just kind of thought I would do that. Bye, guys.